Pokemon card prices have been skyrocketing recently, but this bubble won't last forever. Could a market crash be just around the corner? And more importantly, what should you be doing to stay ahead right now? Stick around to the end of the video and find out. First off, we must understand why the market is like this in the first place, and what it will take for it to come back down again, which mainly comes down to supply and demand. Currently, the demand for products such as booster boxes and elite training boxes has been much higher than the amount of supply being printed, causing pre-orders for new sets such as Prismatic Evolutions and Journey Together to sell out instantly, with them being sold on eBay for double, triple, or maybe even quadruple MSRP on release. And in my time of the hobby, I must say, I've never seen it this bad before, even during previous booms. If you were around for the 2020-2021 boom, then you may have noticed that the current climate of the hobby is very similar to that period of time. While there are some clear similarities such as product being difficult to find and new products being resold for way over MSRP, there are also some clear differences. In 2020, everyone was stuck inside because of Pokérush, which led to people nostalgia kicking in out of boredom, and then gaining desire to purchase their old cards. Influencers such as Logan Paul were pushing vintage Grail cards to record prices. For example, the first edition base set Charizard and the Illustrator Pikachu. However, in this current market, vintage has stayed relatively flat, at least compared to modern cards. This time around, all the focus is on modern, with cards such as the Umbreon seeing sales of up to $3,000 in a PSA 10. And also the growth in the hobby seems much more natural than in the previous boom, as it can only be pointed to one exact factor which is causing the increase in demand. In general, people seem genuinely excited for new sets, but they are unable to obtain them in the first place, which is the main issue here. Now that you understand the difference between the current boom and the previous one, it's important to understand the factors driving these market conditions. One key thing to note is that Pokemon is the highest grossing media franchise in the world. Over the years, they built a strong fan base, and the TCG sets being released are among some of the most hype we've ever seen. Take Prismatic Evolutions for example. The Eeveelutions are some of the most popular Pokemon, and the last Eevee theme set is currently going for over $1,300 per booster box, despite being only 4 years old. Additionally, Pokemon International has been keeping product distribution unusually low. Many business owners have been reporting receiving lower allocation than usual, which suggests that there may be deliberate strategy on Pokemon's part in order to maintain high demand. At least in theory, this could be them struggling to keep with demand as well. Or it could be the distributor's fault, but really that's not what this video is about. So I'm sure you're wondering, what would it take for this type of market to change? Well, this comes back to some more simple economics. We are currently in what is called a bull market, which is where the majority are confident and optimistic about prices increasing. The opposite of this is a bear market, which is when people expect prices to fall and show lack of confidence in their investments, or collectibles in this case. For a bear market to be reinstated, which I want to make clear will definitely happen at some point, there would need to be a development such as an economic downturn, rising interest rates, or a change in general sentiment, which I think is the most likely way the market could change. And this will happen the moment the scalpers aren't able to profit by flipping product on release anymore, which could only really happen if we get below average set, which is seeing low levels of demand. Now, by taking a quick look at the future sets that are coming out as of the making of this video, we have Journey Together, which I think is going to be considered overall an average to good set by the public. Distant Rivals, which is the English equivalent of the Rocket and Hot Air Arena sets in Japanese. This is looking to be a really good set, probably one of the best sets in Scarlet and Violet era so far, with cards like Ethan's Ho-Oh and Cynthia's Garchomp, and potentially some epic Mewtwo card like the one from Shining Legends. And then beyond this, it's hard to predict, since we have no confirmed cards, but we are expecting a black and white themed set, which I'm sure is going to be a good set, but I don't think it has much potential as other sets in this era, considering Gen 5 doesn't really have that mainstream appeal like the other upcoming sets. And lastly, a mega themed set, which was shown off in the Pokemon Presents recently, which is most likely going to be a good set, but it's still early to say. Following this, we could expect another specialty set, which tends to be great sets more often than not. So, what's my point? Well, if we only have banger sets for the foreseeable future, then this hype is most likely not dying down for at least until October, November time. And to make things even worse, that leaves Christmas, which is usually a good time for Pokemon, because people are buying each other Christmas gifts. And following that, we have the 30th anniversary of Pokemon, which historically has been a big deal for Pokemon, which sets like generations and evolutions, celebrations, which were all or ended up being extremely popular sets. So in other words, if my theory is true, odds regular collectors are fucked. This only appears to be the beginning of a long period of hype, but obviously, as mentioned at the start of the video, not all bull markets last forever. Once this mid-tier set comes out, prices can begin to shift back to some level of normality. This usually happens towards the start of a new era. Take the start of Scarlet and Violet in 2023. Everybody hated sets like Scarlet and Violet Base, Paldea Evolved, and people were more focused on cleaning up the remaining stock from Sword and Shield era. But currently, since information suggests we are getting few mega-themed sets to go along with the new Legends Zar game, I can't see them messing that up if we are getting art similar to their quality of the last couple of sets. Which means we're probably going to have to wait until Gen 10, unless we see some sort of natural decline in interest over time due to people not being able to get products, and just giving up and leaving with no one for the scalpers to sell their products to. Right? Right? As for my prediction as promised, based on the previously mentioned factors and the 30th anniversary being on February 27, 2026, I think the boom could last until maybe second quarter to third quarter of 2026. At least for the hype to fully die down. I could see some time in between since that's a really long period of time to maintain a massive level of hype like that. So there's a decent chance that we could see the market cool off in the second half of this year and then rebound at the start of the next year. But in the worst case scenario, we might be looking a little over a full year of worth of time after the posting of this video. But considering the strength of the Pokemon brand, I only see this market correcting, which is a slight dip in demand rather than crashing, so you shouldn't need to worry about all your collection losing all of its value overnight. It will probably just dip, unless you're holding like 50 million Magikarp illustration rares. Leave a watermelon emoji in the comments if you made it this far in the video, and like and subscribe if you're as obsessed with Pokemon as I am. See you next video.